I am about to launch my new business, which is going to be called Bariatric Success with Amanda Jane Duggan. And I will be not just helping new leaf patients, but I will also be helping with a program of, if you like, advice, coaching, support, emotional eating, self-sabotage, everything about weight loss. So enabling people to have the very, very best tools that they can have to be so successful, not just in the short term, because most people are, but in the long term. Because in my 6 years in this business, 7 years actually now, wow, I have realised that, everybody loses weight in the short term. It's the long-term success that's so important. And that means whether we like it or not, we have to deal with the head stuff. It is just so important, part of our journey. So part of it is me doing these lives to help people on a generic basis so that people are more aware. But then there also is going to be this new side of my business, which will be an online program with myself, a dietitian, personal trainer, and other guest experts around the industry, as well as some one-to-one coaching, live coaching, some weekly live coaching that people can access on group coaching every week, and it's going to be so exciting. I'm really excited about it. So I'm having this all these photographs done and everything at the moment for my new website and branding, so it's all quite nice. Now, I would have hated that about, well, certainly 7 years ago. I wouldn't have gone near a photograph. But even, I would say, about 3 years ago, even after I lost the weight, I still really struggled with my body image. I still really struggled with having photographs taken. I didn't like taking compliments, and that, again, is, part of the journey. We just got to actually start to love ourselves, because it's the weird thing about this is that we lose weight and we think that everything's going to be great and that we're going to love ourselves. But then we look at someone else and we go, oh, God, I've got a saggy tummy, or my arms, or my boobs, and we just shift our focus to somewhere else in our body or in ourselves, because we're not actually changing how we are inside. And it's so important to have an acceptance of who we are, an acceptance of our body, warts and all. And just a quick tip, guys, a morning ritual that I do to help me with that is I stand in front of the mirror in the morning and I never, ever criticise any part of my body. And there are parts, to be honest with you, that I'm not happy with. There really are still. I look and I thank my body for the things that it does for me. So I look at the things I like I like my eyes, I like my lips, I like my collarbones here, and I thank my legs. I'm not particularly keen on my legs, if I'm being honest, but instead of criticising them, I go, thank you, legs, because you carry me around all day, every day. They enable me to get from place to place. So it's having that gratitude to be able to actually look at your body in a different way, that for what it is for you or how it helps you, rather than just all about image and body image. Just a bit tip. I will be doing one about body image somewhere later on, but that's just one thing that I just thought, whilst people are getting logged in, I think we've got about 3 people on now, so I'll get going. Okay, I'm really sorry I've got this light shining across, but if I turn it off, you won't be able to see me, so it's a bit difficult. So I do apologise for that, but you don't really need to see my face anyhow. Why would you want to do that? So let's just have a bit of a recap. We started off talking about the subconscious mind, and I told you that all of the things that we do, our behaviour is driven, 80% of our behaviour is driven by a subconscious mind. Our conscious mind is only 20% of the equation. So every single thing that we hear, we learn, we do, we experience is recorded in our subconscious mind. I mean, it blows my mind to think about that. That every experience we've ever had is recorded there for us to pull back to it at some other time if we should need it. I mean, it's just incredible, isn't it? It's like more than all the libraries in the world for one human being. And then there's how many billion of us on this planet? I mean, for anybody to think that there isn't another consciousness out there, that there isn't something else other than us, there has to be, it's just, mind-boggling anyhow. Don't get me onto spirituality, because we're back here for a while. But its main job is to keep you safe. And it takes you from a place of pain into comfort and ease, and if it can, even to pleasure. Because the human being wants to experience pleasure. And that's what we're designed. We're designed to have a most abundant, joyful life that we possibly can. We only put limits on ourselves. Those limits are only there by what we tell ourselves and what we experience and how we perceive the world. But truly, we are supposed to have the most joyful and happy existence we possibly can. And yes, we have things happen to us and pain, but it's about trying to find a way through those pains so that we learn on our journey. The problem is with pain is we don't like it, so we try to get away from it as quickly as possible. Our subconscious mind goes, oh, I don't like that. What can I do to just make it just feel a little bit better? It's like taking tight shoes off. And food has become, for many of us, a learned way of getting us out of that pain and into ease and pleasure. So if you remember a couple of weeks back, I talked to you about my 2 granddaughters. Every time they fall over, their other grandmother, out comes a sweet from her bag, and the crying stops. And, I know that they associate sugar that takes away the pain. Let's face it, we used to have our polio injection inside a sugar lump. Take away the pain, take away the nasty taste. So this pleasure, particularly with carbohydrate or sugar or fatty foods, because they also have an effect on our brain chemistry, which I'm going to tell you about in another episode. So it's not just about the associations there, it's about the physiology as well. This pleasure that we can get from this food, it stops working after a while and we need more and more. It's a bit like a heroin addict. Just need a little bit first and then a bit more and a bit more and a bit more until it gets to a stage where I can't even get back into that state anymore. It's just a case of topping up to stop the withdrawals. So you get to a stage where there really is very little pleasure, or you're not even aware of the pleasure you're getting. It's like a split second before you get that, oh shit, what have I done? So you may not even be aware now by this stage that you are actually using food to get pleasure, because it's subconscious and the pleasure has become so small and minute before the next round of pain comes in from the guilt and the stress and everything that we've done, that you actually may not even be aware that it's happening. So you think, well, I don't get any pleasure out of eating, and you possibly only get a little bit. But the point is, it takes the edge off it, and that's enough for your subconscious mind, along with all the learnt behaviour from years and years and years of doing it, because I know what will work, and even though it's not working so much anymore, it doesn't know another way. And that's the thing about this. We have to swap it out. We have to find another way to soothe, ease, or change our state. Because it's stopping working, and the consequences to our life and well-being are now being felt. We are overweight. We may have health problems. We're certainly not going to live as long. And we're aware of that. And more than anything, our morale and our self-esteem is going down and down and down and down by the time we get to weight loss surgery. So the last couple of weeks, we looked at what was driving our emotional eating. So we said what type of emotional eating that would come up. And it gave you an individualised and personalised understanding of what each of you and what's driving you to eat emotionally. And if you haven't seen those 2 videos, I suggest you go back on the New Leaf Facebook page and have a look at those, because this is a series of 4 or 5 videos all about emotional eating and self-sabotage. So we found out what those drivers are, and what is driving us emotionally to eat. So what are we trying to soothe, move, or create by eating emotionally? So we had sensation drivers, such as we wanted a particular type of food for a sensation, or a ritual where we did things in a certain way because it gave us a sense of security. We've got feelings drivers, so we were looking for love in the food, connection. We looked at core wounds, that feeling of anxiety or fear or panic or whatever. I mean, a lot of my core wounds usually only have 3, but my biggest one is abandonment, because as you know, loads of you know I'm very candid that my father committed suicide when I was 12. So, that core wound for me is abandonment, and anything that even slightly signifies abandonment will set it off in me. And then we looked at our ability to cope with everyday feelings, so what I call emotional mastery, because to enable us to look at our core feelings, we've got to be able to feel those feelings. We need to know what those feelings are. And we might have a core feeling. So I might have a core feeling of abandonment. And something that triggers abandonment could be there. And then I've got another feeling that comes in that goes, shit, oh no, we're here again. It's going to be scary. It's not going to go away. I'm never going to get rid of it. So we've got the everyday feelings as well, how we cope with those. And then we looked at basic human needs. So those needs of security, love, surety, variety, and those can also drive our emotional eating. So can you see how complex this situation is? And how having surgery on its own is never, ever going to sort this out? Well, this evening it gets even more complicated. I'm just going to read some of your comments a minute. Karen says, I totally agree. I can only eat small portions. There's no pleasure in going out to eat as I can't enjoy socialising and eating, and I miss that side. Yeah. And Karen's right, you know, don't let it stop you going out. Just have a small amount. A lot of people take a Tupperware with them and they put that in the handbag and then they just put the rest in and eat it the next day and just eat it slowly. And it's I hope you don't mind me offering you some information or making an observation. The reason why could be because you are missing the sensation of huge portions. So you're feeling miserable and you don't know what to do with yourself. You don't know what to do with yourself when you're out. Maybe you've hidden behind the food when you're out. The food's been such a part of your going out experience that now that you've not got huge quantities and you can keep eating, you've got to do something else. Maybe it makes you more visible that you've got to talk. You've got to be present. Somebody might want something from you. And that is an absolute amazing start to this evening, because what we're going to talk about tonight is self-sabotage. And so we sort of understand now that the eating behaviour in itself is the solution to whatever is angsting us rather than the problem. So it makes absolute sense that in order to stop the eating, or not eating completely, but like the binging and the purging and the, mindless eating, we need to find a different solution for our subconscious and or switch off the program that is driving us to eat emotionally. So, however, if the payoff for us eating or the fear of stopping the behaviour, which I've just talked about there with Karen, so she can't eat, she's got to go out. There's a fear maybe around that because she's going to have to do something else instead. She may become more visible. People might be watching her. So it's easier to eat big portions or just not go out. Now, eventually, if she doesn't go out, then that's going to have a knock-on effect with the rest of her life. So, we have to find a way of easing and soothing this that enables having the surgery to make our life better, not worse. So, if the payoff for us eating, all the fear of stopping the behaviour and what that might mean to our lives is higher in intensity than the reasons for us stopping the behaviour, then you have not got a cat in hell's chance of sorting this out. So the most important thing is to have a look for any sabotage, however small, that is going on, and address that. Find ways of addressing that. Because we've got to, because if that fear of stopping the eating, and let's face it, we think that we've got no reasons for eating, but I know it was like, what am I going to do without it? What's Christmas going to be like? What's my birthday going to be like? Oh my God, but I just love food. But I just, I like going to posh restaurants. I like entertaining. I like cooking. What am I going to do with that? That's all fear of stopping the behaviour, because the behaviour is providing us with something. It's providing us with a purpose to comfort and love other people. It's providing us with an ability to be a good hostess. It's providing us with variety. It's providing us with a way of maybe not even having to speak when we go out for dinner because we're sat there eating. And everybody knows we're the one that eats. And when we stop eating, they might want us to speak, and that can be frightening. There are a million ways that you may be very small, subconsciously sabotaging your own success. However, there are 4 or 5 main sabotages that I see in weight loss patients, and I thought that I would talk about these tonight. Guys, I'm just going to say I am Lovely to see you, Cara. You're new. That's brilliant. Just have a watch. Have a look back at some of the previous ones, because this is a third in a series. But stay with us tonight, because you can watch this self-sabotage bit on its own and then go back and have a look at the others. I can't actually answer all your questions I'm going through, as we just won't have time. So, but I promise you, if you put something in there and you have a question or comment, I'll go back later and I will reply to every single one of you. And I will also tell you about a group that I'm setting up at the end of this, that we are going to be helping support each other through this mindset stuff. And I will be posting daily things for you to help you both, and everything on there. So stick around to the end, because you can hear about that, and that's completely free. So the main things that I see, self-sabotage I do see in weight loss patients there are 4 of them. Well, actually 5, but the 5th one's not really self-sabotage. I'll explain that in a minute. But the 4th, there's 2 we're going to look at tonight. And then I'll look at the other couple next week. And not next week, sorry, the week after next, because I'm on holiday next week. And then I will also give you an exercise that you can do to work out how strong your sabotage is compared to your wanting and desire to switch it off. And then we can look at, because if that sabotage list is stronger in intensity than the what you're going to get out of stopping this behaviour list, and let's face it, there's lots we're going to get out of it. Not wearing a seatbelt extension, wearing long boots was one of mine, wearing skinny jeans, wearing beautiful dresses, having my hair cut. I mean, my hair was always long, I've had it go. There's loads of reasons for doing it, but we're not always aware of the reasons why we want to stay where we are and what might be stopping us for doing that. And until we are aware of those, we can't switch this emotional eating off, because it's always going to stand in our way. So I'm going to give you an exercise that you can do next session, or fortnight from today. And we're going to look at the last 2 self-sabotage, and I'm also going to give you this exercise to do. But tonight I want to talk to you about the first 2. So the first one is what will other people think? And this is a really interesting one, okay? And in order to get you to do this, to think about this, it's really good to do a really good visualization technique. Now, obviously, I can't see you all on this, because unless I brought you all in live, which might be a bit difficult. So I'm going to trust that you're doing it, but it really is a good thing to do. Really good, because it will really give you some insight into yourself and what your beliefs are around your weight loss. So what I want you to do is, I would like you to close your eyes and imagine yourself at your ideal weight. Whatever that ideal weight might be. Think about, what does each part of your body look like? Your legs, your stomach, your boobs, if you've got them, if you're a mum, your mum boobs, your arms, even your fingernails, are they painted, are they elegant? Even your bum, your thighs. And how are you walking and carrying yourself? Is your head low? Or are you standing up tall, giving it a bit of swagger as you walk along, or nice and elegant? So what does each part, close your eyes and imagine yourself at your ideal weight. What does each part of your body look like? And how are you walking and carrying yourself? What expression have you got on your face? Is it nice and serene like the Mona Lisa? Is it a great big smile because you're joyful and happy? Are you running around? Are you just quietly confident walking in a business suit? Or have you got, what clothes are you wearing? So you're wearing sports gear, or are you wearing yoga, meditation, or you've got a nice business suit on, a ball gown, pair of jeans with a crop top. Whatever it is that you've always wanted to wear. And what are you doing that's different? So have you got more success? Is your life more successful? Maybe you've even got a new job. Have you made a new set of friends, even your weight loss surgery friends? Are you even, dare I say it, in a different relationship than the one that you're in now? What are you doing that's different? This is in the ideal world, and you don't need to tell anybody this. It's all in your head. But really think about that. Okay, so you can see that body in front of you. What I want you to do is I want you to actually step into your new body. So you're actually imagine yourself stepping into it and looking through the eyes of this new, slimmer, confident, awesome version of you. And in front of you there is a huge mirror. And I want you to take a look at your own reflection through your own eyes. See what you see. See what you like. And you may well be feeling a bit of anxiety at this moment. That's very often the case, that you'll be feeling a little bit of anxiety. Because actually, it's quite scary getting to the place where you want to get. We've always been big. Seeing ourselves differently can be a bit of a frightening experience. So I'm going to make it even more intense now. So I want you to imagine that everyone you know, your partner, your friends, your family, your work colleagues, your neighbours, people down the pub, are all gathering around you in a huge circle, and it's the first time they have seen you like this at your ideal body weight, wearing those clothes, giving it the strut, whatever you do. You may be feeling even more anxious now. And then I want you to take a look around that circle at everyone around you. Take a look at who's happy, who's proud and pleased for you. Is there anyone there, though, who doesn't look quite so happy? Is there anyone who looks a bit uncomfortable or jealous, perhaps, or fearful? Maybe your best friend who you've always dieted with is a bit uncomfortable because you've done so well and maybe she hasn't. Or your partner knows you're looking amazing but is a bit fearful, protective or jealous. See, in your mind, you've subconsciously created a story about how the people around you will feel when you lose the weight. You're probably not aware of it even until tonight. And if there is any possibility, perhaps, of you hurting or upsetting someone around you that is closer to you, then you will have created a subconscious block in your mind. My experience is that the majority of people that have weight loss surgery are carers and givers. They're also very often people pleasers. And we tend to put our own success and happiness behind that of everybody else. We are the last on the list, or certainly a long way down. And the thought of hurting someone close to you, or even putting yourself first for once, will feel very uncomfortable to you. So if you've been hurt before, like I felt rejected by my father when he committed suicide. I have kept hold of unsuitable relationship for years because the thought of me rejecting another human being, knowing how it felt like when I was abandoned by my dad, I just couldn't possibly do it. It wasn't possible for me. So if you've got a protective partner or a jealous sister or a friend that will feel uncomfortable because you've had an inkling that if you've lost a bit more than her at Weight Watchers, she's a bit... And those people are really close to you and you can think that you're going to hurt them, then you've not got a cat and hell's chance, because this story that you've made in your head is probably not even true. But even if it is, to a certain extent, the reality is one that you can either change it or accept without sabotaging your own success. So sabotaging your own success for the sake of others is not only disrespectful to yourself, but it's disrespectful to them. I never realised this, but it's just not fair that they should have the responsibility of having so much control and power over something that is so life-changing or life-threatening for you. So you need to find ways to take back control and power for your own life while still loving those around you. And one of them might be having the conversation with that person. I've done this visualisation and I have no understanding why, but I just have a feeling that you're going to be uncomfortable about this when I get there, and I don't want that to stop me from going forward, because I know you love me and I know deep down that you really want me to be successful, live a longer, happy, healthy life. But you know, I don't know why I feel this, but so it doesn't become an issue. Can you reassure me that that's what you want for me? Having those conversations with people and putting respectful boundaries up with people. It takes time, all this stuff, it really does. But you know, it's stuff that's so important if we want to be long-term successful, because when our tool stretches out or we get used to it, we start to go back into our old ways. And if we've not dealt with some of this stuff, we're then at a stage where we just can't switch it off. Or we can, but it's much harder. I'll give you an example, and it's one that happened to me, and it was part of my weight loss surgery journey as well. I was about 18 months post-op. I had started my training as an eating disorder therapist. I was doing a bit of work around NLP. So I even had a little bit of some extra tools in my toolkit by that time. But this floored my weight loss for 6 months. And I went to France. I've got a daughter who lives in France who I love dearly. And I don't see very much of her. We're so excited to see each other. I'm going on Friday, and I just beside myself with excitement. You know, it's like, oh, I can't wait to see her. And she's always been so supportive of me. But I've suffered with depression and anxiety and all sorts over the years, and she's always been there for me. And she was delighted that I was losing the weight. Until one day, I went to the doctors, and I came home from the doctors, and she'd not long since had a baby. She was about 6 months, and she'd still got a little bit of that, what do you call it, jelly belly tummy that you get after you've had... I mean, for me, it was nothing, but to her, it was obviously a huge thing. And I walked in from the doctors, and I went, oh my God, I am 70 kilo. I have never, since I was like 15, been 70 kilo. And she looked at me, and she turned around and she went, well, you don't need to rub it in. And I went, Helen, what? And she went, well, you know that I've been trying to get back to 70 kilo. Well, I didn't, since I had my baby. And I'm just, you don't need to rub it in and come in here. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And I remember reassuring her and saying, you know, Helen, look, it's our competition, and it's like, it's fine, and you'll get back there. It's absolutely fine. And then she apologised, and she said, Mum, look, I'm sorry. You know, it doesn't matter. I'm really sorry. But that seed had been sown, and I could see the pain on my daughter's face in that minute. Over the period of the next 6 months, I put on, I think it was about 10 pounds. Now, at 18 months, most people do put on about 10% of their body weight, but I don't think for me it was any coincidence that weight regain started more or less from that moment. And I have worked on it, and I do know, you know, it's okay now, but still I put 10 pounds on, because the thought of me having to, or hurting my daughter, the person that I loved not more than anybody in the world, but one of the people I love more than anybody in the world, was just far too painful. So that was self-sabotage story for me. Okay, so if you've got any to share on there, or anything that's come up, please, from that visualisation, I'd really love you to pop it in the chat, because then people can see that they're not alone. See that, you know, and also so I can see I'm not doing this for nothing, but, you know, actually not on my own either. And that, you know, it's helping you. It would be really great. That light that's shining in my eyes is driving me balmy. I'm going to move up in here a bit, maybe. So yeah, pop it in below. So did anybody come up? Was there any jealousy? Was there any people that didn't look comfortable? There was anybody that was a bit, oh, I'm not sure about that. Any partners that you felt, you know, weren't happy for you because they quite like you where you are now? Okay, the next one, the next subconscious block that we're going to talk about is what I call I'm too sexy for my head. Too sexy for my head. Yeah, it's called I'm Too Sexy. I'm a shit singer, so excuse me. Basically, if for any reason that you are subconsciously scared that if you lose the weight, you will attract more attention from the opposite sex. So, some women have been sexually abused. Now, when I say sexually abused, I don't mean that they necessarily had like major trauma of a actual sexual activity. It can be something as simple as every time an uncle came, he'd look at them in a funny way, undress them with their eyes and pat them on the bum. It can be that they have been using their sexuality in a way that's put them in an unsafe place, so they don't want to feel unsafe again. But many, many women have got some subconscious blockers around this, that in some way they'll either put loads of weight on to make themselves that big. It's two things. They won't attract the opposite sex, but it almost feels like a shield. It's around them, this shield that's around them to stop people from getting in. I call it the Michelin man suit. I had a Michelin man suit and I just wanted to unzip it down that because I knew that it wasn't me. This bit wasn't my body. It just felt alien, but it was protecting me from something. Okay? Now, some people just put on a little bit of weight, just enough so that they don't feel sexy and they don't feel so attractive. That can be more about not trusting others, but often that's about not trusting ourselves. So it's about you. I had a client, for example, that she was quite promiscuous when she was younger, and she'd not had very much love from her parents, so she was looking for love from the opposite sex all the time, and she equated sex with love. If somebody had sex with her, they loved her. That was it, Well, we all know now, and she all knows that's not true, but she kept running after it. Well, this one will be different, this one will be different, this one will be different. And then she did get into a habit of keep cheating on people, because every time somebody gave her some attention, she couldn't say no to it, because she was almost like, it's not that she was addicted to the sex, that's not true, but she was addicted to that attention. And because she didn't like being rejected herself, she couldn't reject somebody else. So if they came onto her, she'd have to say yes. And she got into a relationship with somebody who she desperately loved, and she really didn't want that to happen again. And the way her body reacted to that was she gained 20 kilos in 6 months. No idea why. Came to me to speak to me about it. Said, what is it? What's going on? And we had to talk about it. And we uncovered that this was the case. And she'd done it so that she could trust herself. If people came onto her, she couldn't trust that she wouldn't be attracted by that need and that need to be loved and run off. And she so wanted this relationship to work because she desperately loved this man. So she put the weight on so that she wouldn't attract the attention, so then she would keep herself and her partner safe. And then we uncovered that, and we worked out, the reality of it. We checked it for truthfulness and limiting beliefs and all that the stuff that I do in my coaching. And then she released the weight quite easily after that, and she's still happy with this great bloke. So, it's just great stuff, because it really does affect all of your life, and it makes me so happy to help people like this. So that's why I call it I Don't Trust Myself script. There was another man that had bless this bloke. Oh dear. He was about, 120 kilos. And he lost a load of weight. And when he lost this weight, his wife didn't find him attractive anymore. She ran off with another man because she felt threatened. And he lost all his family. So within 12 months, he put all the weight back on, because that was like, I'm not losing my family again. And then you have women as well that are very similar to that. They're not in a happy marriage or a relationship. They know they're not in a happy relationship, but they've got children and they've got a partner, and they know that if they feel, not consciously, but there's something down here that says, if I lose weight and somebody finds me attractive and they hit on me, then I am not going to be able to say no. And if I say yes, I'm going to break up my whole family, and I can't do that to my children. So that's like a mixture of that I'm too sexy and what will other people think. How is that going to affect my family and my children? And I can't do that because I'm a carer, I'm a giver, and I'd rather be unhappy. So by keeping the weight on, it stops that in their mind from happening. Thing is that there are a lot of people out there that do find a bigger woman or a bigger man attractive, because ultimately people find the person attractive, not the outside. And that again is what part of this work is about, is that actually you are not what you look like. That's not who you are. Who you are is what you are inside. So, if you did want to do a visualization around that one, and we haven't really got time tonight, but take it away with you, you can do the same as we did above, where your ideal weight, wearing the right clothes, you've got your hair nice, etc. But you're going out on a night out with a friend into a bar or a nightclub, and you're walking in, and what's happening, and how you're feeling, and checking for any anxiety, and if so, what is making you anxious. So then playing that tape forward. So a man or a woman hits on you, what do you feel? Are there any feelings coming up around that? That would be a really good thing to do. And if your anxiety levels are over a 5 out of 10 on either of those two visualizations, then it's very likely that you've got a subconscious block there. And if your subconscious block has any I'm too sexy in it, I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to need a professional weight loss coach or therapist to help you through that one, because it's really difficult to reframe it on your own, because you probably not. It's difficult to get in there and find out really where it's coming from. You need to be in a safe environment. So basically what I'm trying to explain to you is that the weight quite often thinks it's your friend, and it's there for a good reason, or so it thinks. It's protecting you from sexual activity. It's stopping you from hurting your loved ones, which will hurt you. But you've got to find out what that reason is. And it's all about being a bit of a detective for figuring out what your block or blocks are. And often the knowledge itself can be enough for you to go and do the extra work around the emotional eating. So going back and, like we're going to do in previous week, look at core emotions and everyday emotions and the drivers and the payoffs and all of that. But until these self-sabotage blocks are uncovered and reframed, it's almost impossible to stop the emotional eating, because we're going to keep that pain. We're getting away from a minor pain into a place of ease, but the pain that the actual long-term thing is going to cause, the long-term objectives, is going to cause so much more pain in our mind, not just to us, but those that we love. And that is just not possible. It's so hard. Well, somebody like me, it really is. Okay, so the next session in 2 weeks' time, we're going to look at the other two main subconscious blocks, which are... where am I? How will I cope without food? What's Christmas Day going to be like? And I don't deserve it because I am not good enough. So those are the other two. And then the last one, which isn't really a subconscious blocker as such, it's a mixture of both, is the love is in the food. So the week after, I'm going to show you a little exercise. If you're one of those people that the love's in the food, you know, I was talking about me with the grandma and the flakes, of how you can take the love out of the food, put it in your heart, and keep the love without eating the food, which cuts out shed loads of emotional eating. So, I hope you are getting something out of these sessions. I really, really do, because I do spend a lot of time preparing them for you, and and I enjoy doing them. It'd be much better if I could have some feedback, but it can't do in this way. But in 2 weeks' time, we're going to look at those other two, and I'm also going to give you that exercise I talked about self-sabotage, and then so you can work out if your blocks are getting in the way. And if that's the case, you need to uncover the blocks before you do the emotional mastery, core feelings, or human needs work. So see you in a fortnight's time. Please share this and let people know about it. I am going to be starting a new group this week. I've had a mare with Facebook. For some reason, they blocked me from starting new groups and pages since 2014. I have no idea. They still won't tell me why. I can't get through to their support department. It's been a nightmare. But I think I've found a way around it so that I can do it now. So I'm hoping that will all be set up next week. It's going to be called... the group will be called Bariatric Mindset with Jane Duggan. My new business is Bariatric Success, but this group will be all around the mindset stuff. And our next episode of Bariatric TV is Wednesday the 14th of August at 7. Please come back and write down any realisations that you had this week, because it's so lovely for me to hear them. If you don't want to share them on the screen, which will be lovely because it does help others to know that they're not alone. And even if you're watching on replay, please put those in and I will reply to every one of them. But if you don't want to, drop me a PM so that I know that I'm actually helping. I would really appreciate it. And if anybody would if you could come and like my new business page and maybe write a little bit of a review about how these episodes have been helping you. I'm going to invite you all to that, so that would be really helpful. I love each and every one of you. You are amazing people. We are trudging a fabulous journey together that can be so exciting if we have the right tools to make it into our very best life. And my mission is to help all of you to do that. Good night, God bless, and I will see you a fortnight today from sunny France, I hope. But next week I'm having a week off to spend with my daughter, 2 of my sons, and oh my goodness, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of my grandchildren. So it's going to be a busy week, and I'm not enough time to prepare for this. I'm far too busy playing with my grandchildren, which is one of the things I couldn't do before the weight loss surgery. It is now one of my biggest joys to run around my garden in France with the children, with my kids. Well, not my kids, my grandchildren. So, yeah, happy days, happy life. Take care, my loves. Bye-bye. Mwah.